All right, just like the title says, this is a 17-year review on a Harbor Freight Chicago Electric Dual MIG 151. And here it is. I bought this in 2003 for a project I was working on. And before this, I had a Lincoln Buzz box, and I was working under a car putting subframe connectors in, and I needed something a little better than the arc welder. I'm not a professional welder, I'm just a hobbyist, and this was in my price range in 2003, and I bought it, small tank argon, got that project done, and then moved on to working on all kinds of other small projects, some yard art, some farm equipment, lots of barbecues, fire pits, just all kinds of oddball stuff over the years. And this has worked great. It's really basic. You know, you just got your on-off, your minimum one, then you got minimum two, and you hit max one, max two, depending on the thickness of material. And there's your duty cycle. And I got to tell you, it very rarely cycled out on me over the years. It's just on the shady side here, but I run flux core. 30 thousandths flux core, never really had a problem. The other problem was had to stick with the smaller spool, a 2-pound spool. The bigger spool seemed like it kind of lugged it down a lot. But other than that, this thing's worked great. And the only reason I replaced it about a year and a half ago was I had another project that I'm doing a lot of sheet metal work on, this 37 Ford, and this just wasn't cutting it. So being that it did me so good, I went out and after watching reviews and a lot of videos online, I got the Vulcan Max 215, MIG Max 215, dual voltage. But this runs really good. I've done a lot of sheet metal work with it. I've done, I boxed the frame rails, did the exhaust up, all kinds of stuff with this, and it worked out really, really well. So I'm really happy with this for what I do. Once again, I'm not a professional welder. I'm just a hobbyist, and this has done me really, really good. And now this one is clearing out stuff in my backyard. And I thought, well, right before I threw it in the back of my truck, I was going to take it to work and see if I wanted it. But I had to make sure it worked first, so I plugged it back in and just came over here. It's kind of hard to see in the light, but I just ran a bead across these two pieces of steel here. It still does the trick. So it still works. So it's kind of hard to say, how many more years it has left in it. But I got to say, for the $250, I think I paid for this, not counting the tank and wire and stuff. And I put a lot of wire through this over the years, a lot of wire. And other than replacing the cord once, replacing the ground clamp, that cheesy one that came on there, tips, and had to buy some parts for the trigger on the gun at one point in time. But that was a long time ago, and it's worked ever since. So that's it. I mean, for the money, back in the day, I can't complain about this Harbor Freight MIG welder. It's done its job, and it's still holding up, and it's still working. So there it is. 17 years later, I'd say it's got about a good 16 and a half, 17 years of actual use. Not every single day, not every weekend, but it's been used a lot. When I do use it, I use it a lot. Building, when the projects came around, it put the wire through it. And it worked consistently every time I needed it to. So can't complain. Hate the fact that, it's made in China. But, my budget's my budget. And that's where I got to work with. So there it is, 17-year review. Have a great day. And Semper Fi.